Hello and welcome to EV Review Ireland. My name is Derek Reilly. Today we're on the beautiful grounds of Wells House and Garden here in County Wexford to review the Mercedes EQA. Let's get started. Today's video is sponsored by EasyGo. As well as being Ireland's largest EV charging network, EasyGo supports over 10,000 Irish EV drivers to find and use more than 1,200 charge points active on the EasyGo app. This works across the island of Ireland, north and south. The team at EasyGo also provide home, workplace and public chargers together with fleet management and payment service solutions, ideal for businesses transitioning their fleets to electric vehicle driving. The Mercedes EQA is based on the Mercedes GLA, which is the G line, which is kind of their 4x4 GP version of the A class. So this is the entry-level electric Mercedes if you want to get that three-pointed star. Not much difference in between the two body shapes. This is about 53 millimeters difference in length, but otherwise there's a bit of cosmetic front and rear. You'll see that the grille is blocked off, and on this black version with that gloss black, you'll notice it on the road that it is different to that GLA. It has that blocked off grille because it doesn't need the air intake into the combustion engine. You'll also, depending on the trim level, you'll start to see some stripes on it. This is the entry level. This is the EQA 250, but depending on whether you go for the AMG line or the 300 or 350 will dictate whether you get silver stripes on that front as well. You've got a blue eyelid notifying that it is an EQ. An EQ, we normally would say it stands for emotional intelligence, but in the Mercedes world, that stands for electric intelligence. Depending on the AMG line as well, you'll dictate whether you've got that different spoiler at the bottom. Otherwise, really nice front on it. Got a lot of compliments when I've had it over the last couple of days here in County Wexford. Let's have a look around the side and the back. Along the side, very similar to the Mercedes GLA, and where I parked this in my apartment block, there is a GLA right beside me, so it's great to make that comparison. The only thing you'll notice is the EQA blue badging on the side here, but otherwise the alloy wheels are slightly different to the GLA, and dependent on, you've got 18s, 19s, 20s, all the way up, so you've got different wheel sizes. Otherwise, this model has keyless entry as well, and the retracting side mirrors. Let's have a look around the back and potentially have a look in the boot as well. One thing I didn't mention about the front is you've got that light bar across the top of the grille, bottom of the bonnet, joining the two headlights. And you've got a similar thing, so a lot of new cars have these light bars front and rear. These only come on when the when the actual headlights are on. They're not on during the day. This is a power tail gift as well, so you can operate it via a button on the driver's door, on the key fob, or via just popping that up. And you have a boot, and you can see it's fairly well packed here after being on holidays for a couple of days in Wexford, of 340 litres. But you've got a big suitcase, a small suitcase, you've got your charging cables. There is a well underneath, and I'll show that now on screen, but you won't even fit the cables into it. It's got the puncture repair kit, etc. You've got your lights, and you've got your luggage package at the top of it. Lovely even flat floor for loading into, and you have this lovely chrome scuff plate on the back of it as well. You have your closing button at the top here as well. You've got your EQ badging on the back as well with the 250. Yeah, nice. Overall, on the external side of things, it's a really nice looking car. As I mentioned, I got a lot of compliments this week. Let's have a look on the inside. Inside of the EQA is very, very similar to the GLA. You've got a couple of EQ stuff inside on this line, on the dash, etc. But otherwise, if you sat in and you were a GLA driver, I don't think you'd know the difference. Working from the door over, you've got a nice mix of materials. You've got your leather on the top, you've got kind of a carbony effect, you've got your leather on the door panel, you've got your silver door handle, kind of a brushed aluminium kind of look. So on the door itself, you've got your heated seats button, you've got your central locking, you've got your retractable mirrors, and you've got your you've got your windows up and down, front and rear, and that you can lock them. Also on the door, you've got your button that I mentioned for opening the rear boot. Good sized door pocket, and it's a good chunky door. Moving across then, you've got these beautiful air vents, and I know these are the same on the GLA. Absolutely gorgeous, and a real satisfying click when you open them. It's a 90 degree, they're either horizontal or vertical, open or closed. Moving on to the steering wheel, you have, depending on the color of the interior, so this is obviously the cream. If you go for the black interior, I've seen that the steering wheel actually goes silver instead of gloss black. On the right hand side, you've got the controls of a dash, and this is where the MBUX, the Mercedes-Benz user experience, starts to come in. There's two little kind of like touch pads for your thumbs on either side. So you've got the home button, you've got directional up, down, left, right, and press. And you've got a return or a back button. Underneath that then you've got all the information with regards to cruise control or limiting the speed. Behind the steering wheel you have some paddles, floppy paddles, and that's to do with the two-stage regenerative brakes. And on the left hand side of the steering wheel you have the control for the second screen. So you've got two 10.25 inch screens. On the GLA you don't get that as standard, whereas on all of the EQA you get the big 10.25 inch screens, whereas on some models of the GLAs there are 7-inch screens. You've got the same interface, you've got the back, you've got the touch sensitive little selector button and the home, and then you've got your phone, your voice assistant, and your volume up and down. Some really nice, lovely buttons. And we've talked about touch and haptic on some of the other electric vehicles on this channel, but beautiful. Stalks are a bit interesting in the back. The right hand stalk is all to do with your what gear mode selector you're in, as in forward, reverse, neutral and park. Up for reverse, neutral is in the middle, down is for drive, and then the button at the end is park. And then everything else is on the left hand. So you've got indicators, you've got wipers, you've got headlight as in full beam or low beam. So yeah, it's interesting that they're different on either side. Down by my knee I have my handbrake, I have my rear fog lights, I also have my, whether I'm in automatic or full or dim lights, etc. Lighting, except the steering wheel itself, it has reach and it has rake, which you'd expect in a car like this. Then we have a start stop button on the right hand side above my left knee. We then have on the past the screens, and I'll cover the screen now in a second, we've got 3 great directional buttons, fan outlets, and as I mentioned, beautifully made, lovely feel. And underneath that then you've got all your heating information, and again tactile buttons. You've got where the air is going to be blowing, whether you want recirculate the air conditioning on. Now there isn't dual zone on this version, but there is options as you go up the trim levels. The price for this car is starting at 56,000 odd, goes all the way up to 68, and you've got your buttons with regards to temperature up, temperature down. You've got a hidden pocket underneath here with a USB Type-C where you can charge your phone. Would have liked to have seen a wireless charging pad there. I've got the coffee or bottle drinks holder underneath that there. Behind that then you've got more ways of interacting with the car, so you can do it via this kind of touchpad, large touchpad with a wrist rest on that. You've got your different modes, you've got again another volume button, you've got your reversing cameras, you've got your radio, you've got your nav, and then behind that then you've got another USB in here in this kind of armrest storage place. Glove box is a good size. It is kind of a half glove box because it is that left hand drive, right hand drive, that's where the fuse box is. Seats are very comfortable, they are manual. There are lumbar support, 4-way lumbar support, which is nice, but to raise it or to move it forward and back, it's manual, which is a bit interesting on a car of this price, but I appreciate the need to cut down on costs. Up top, you've got your lights, you've got your SOS button, you've got your Mercedes Me, and whether you want lights on at the front or the back, etc. Running through the infotainment system, there's a number of different screens. This screen is touch screen, so you've got phone, you've got navigation built in, it takes Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You've got radio, which has FM and digital. You've got media if you want to connect up some devices via Bluetooth or USB Type-C. You've got your 64 ambient lighting. You've got your EQ menu, which I'll go into, which has charging options with regards to whether you want to set a departure time, what the consumption is currently like, as in driving, heating, cooling, energy flow, whether you're putting energy in or out when you're charging it. The vehicle itself, you can select what you're doing with it, and then there's an owner's manual in there as well. So lots of nice good options in there. You've got your Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as mentioned, and then you've got your Mercedes Me. That's an app where you can look at the statistics of the car, set up charging. You can also, with Mercedes Me, you can use it so that it charges to the card. I'm not sure if this is available in Ireland, but I have seen it across in the United Kingdom, where you pull up with a charger, you select activate on the actual Mercedes Me, and then it charges it to your Mercedes Me account. Then you've got your vehicle settings in there as well. So nice screen, and you can activate it via the touch, via the MBUX pad down at the bottom here, or via the steering wheel as well. So lots of different ways to interact, and the voice. Inside, it's a really nice, comfortable drive, and we're going to talk about it on the driving side, but it's got double glazed windows. It is, if you are looking to get into a Mercedes, you're not going to be let down on the quality of the actual drive, of the manufacturing. Everything is top notch. Let's have a look in the back and see what the space is like back there. If you think this car is for you, you can contact EasyGo and register for the app by clicking the link on the screen or in the description. As you know, if you're a regular subscriber to this channel, and that's a hint if you're not, please hit subscribe. I'm 187 centimeters tall, 6'2". This seat is set for me, and there's about an inch, 20-25 millimeters with regards to space. What you will find is, because the battery pack is in the floor, there's going to be a bit of space underneath your thighs to the actual chair itself, but headroom, a couple of inches there, and comfortable enough from what I can see. 3 headrests. You also have your armrest here. You'd comfortably fit 2 adults in the back, and you probably would squeeze a very narrow person in the middle. You've got your nice Mercedes cup holders here, and you also have one USB Type-C down at the bottom here, and a little shelf. I'm not sure exactly what it's for, but you've got nets behind the driver's seat and the passenger seat as well, and they've kind of curved in, or taken some space out of the seat so that the knees fit in, which is smart design. You've got a decent sized door bin, enough for 1 or 2 bottles. You've got your mix of fabrics back here as well. You've got your cream and black leather. Yeah, nice. And the seats are 40-20-40, so you can drop them all down individually if you want. And you've got 2 very well exposed in ISOFIX positions in the back here as well. Only issue in the back is, on a longer journey, you might feel with that seated position, it might get a small bit uncomfortable, but otherwise really well finished. What's it like driving the Mercedes EQA? Really smooth, suspension is set up really well, noise insulation is amazing, however they've done it. So it's a really refined drive, and I'm sure if you're used to a Mercedes, this is what you'd expect. We have an electric motor, front wheel drive, and it has putting out 190 brake horsepower, 365 newton meters of torque. It has a usable battery of 66.5 kilowatt hours. I think the overall is over 80, but the usable, which is great, to let you know it. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is 8.9 seconds. With the 300 and the 350, the models that are coming out in a couple of months' time, that'll drop that down to around the 6-second mark. They also have the option of 4-wheel or all-wheel drive, or 4MATIC, and the top speed is 160 kilometers an hour. WLTP of the Mercedes EQA is 423 kilometers, and I've been getting around about the 370, 380. That's with good temperatures, stop-start driving, a bit of motorway as well. So yeah, not bad. They're not far off. It's a large battery, so you'd expect that size in it. With this progressive trim level, and it's the entry trim level, you have your 18-inch 5-spoke, double 5-spoke alloy wheels. You have your 4-way lumbar support, and you also have your acoustic deadening package as well. You also get a number of assists, so you have active braking assist, so if it senses that there's a vehicle or a person that's stepped out in front or has stopped and you're not paying attention, it will brake for you or assist you. Then you have active lane assist. I find that a bit tough now. What it does is it rumbles the steering wheel and it slows the car down, which sometimes can be a bit distracting. So just be careful with that one. And then it has adaptive lights as well. You also get blind spot assist, which is great, and it highlights it on the wing mirror with a little triangle, but also on on the driver instrument cluster. You've got your 2 10.25 screens, which are really clear, really great definition. The reversing camera, I'd like to see a better definition on that. It's not as good as some of the other ones I've tested, but it's a reversing camera, and you have your parking sensors all the way around as well. Prices for the EQA come in at 58,120 all the way up to 68,526, and that's before government grants. And now obviously in Ireland, this was filmed in June of 2021. Grants are starting to change, so dependent on what spec and trim level you go to, if it exceeds 60,000 you get no grant. So just be careful when you are pricing and speccing this car, whether you're getting that SEAI and that VRT, the two different grants that you can get in Ireland at the moment for electric vehicles. The motor on the EQA is 140 kilowatt, and that's the same, so it's the same battery pack on the 250, the 300 and 350, but then depending on what whether you go for the 350 or the 300 or 350 will dictate as to the size of the electric motor. So this 250 is a 140 kilowatt motor. Hopefully you're enjoying the review. Let me know in the comment section what you think of the Mercedes EQA. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Hit the like button. All of this engagement helps with the YouTube algorithm. So if you're watching it, at least give it a thumbs up. Charging the Mercedes EQA overnight, about between 10 and 11 hours if you're on your home charger of 7.2 kilowatts, and then it can take up to 11 kilowatts, and DC it can take up to 100 kilowatts. So if you can find a charger that will give you 100 kilowatts, it will charge from 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes. If you'd like to support the channel, I've set up a Patreon link. It's in the description, and that's where you can contribute monthly to the actual channel. And if you want to give a one-stop tip, there is a PayPal link in there as well. Thank you so much to the people that have already submitted some PayPals, and we've had some super chats on the live as well. I already got my first patron signed up, so thank you very much to Blake Boland, who has come in at the top level. So thank you very much, a friend of mine, Blake Boland, for coming in there. But that's open to everybody, and you can see the 3 different levels on that Patreon link. Just a reminder that today's video was sponsored by EasyGo, who are now offering a year's free driving when EasyGo installs a charger at your home or business. For more info or to submit for a quote, click the link on the screen or in the description. That's my look around the Mercedes EQA. Impressed with this, even though it hasn't been a ground-up EV. It is based on that GLA platform, but they've done a really good job with it. It's nice to drive, quality feel. As I mentioned, if you're looking to get into this premium brand and mark, it is it's a nice entry electric vehicle. Very few flaws on this car. They've thought about it, they've done the things that they needed to do. It's a good sized battery, it drives well, it's not loud with regards to road noise. There are some things they could improve upon, but you would be nitpicking on that. This is going to do very well. I was speaking to one of the Mercedes garages down here in Wexford during the week, and he said he cannot keep them in. They're sold out, can't get enough of them. And when you hear a garage saying that, it shows that there is a real demand for it. Of course, there are cheaper electric vehicles out there, like the Skoda Enyaq, that may be bigger vehicle for less price, but this 3-pointed star is the thing that you're thinking about. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's review. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And remember, if you think an EV is for you, leave it to me and I'll review. Thanks for watching.